Hello viewers, this is another episode of CSS tutorial for beginners. I am your instructor Vincent Hope. So today we're going to be treating borders. How do we create borders with CSS in an HTML program? Okay, so assuming here we're in lesson 7, but on our recording we're on lesson 5, so let's go. Now let's examine the code before we go and see how it looks like in the output. Now the CSS border, now we know this CS doc type HTML head, then the style. Now what's the style? The class we use here is a p dotted. We can use any other one, but p dotted, the border style is dotted, then p dashed border style is dashed, p solid border style is solid, p double border style is double, and it goes on pre-groove, p-ridge, p-insert, p-outset, p-none, p-hidden, p-mix. Then you close the style. Then we come to the body where we say the h1, the border style is property. Then the paragraph, this property specifies what kind of border to be displayed. Now, for each of the class we selected, which is p dotted, the p class here is dotted, and the class is a dotted border. Now let's see how all this makes sense. So let's go back to our CSS output. This is for border lesson 7. Double click it. Now look at how it looks like. Now let's see how the code looks like. So come back here, right click it, come to edit notepad plus. Now let me reduce this. Okay, as usual, let me bring it closer. Now see how it looks like. Now the first one, which is the dotted border, you can see this p dotted border style is dotted. Now the class here dotted a dotted border. Now that is what is written inside under the paragraph, but the code for this dotted border is this under the styling you use for it. Then for the dashed border is p dot dash, but the code there is border dash style. As the border style is dashed. The first one, border style, is dotted. The third one, the border style is double. The fourth one, the border style is groove, which is this double line here. Then this is double. This is double border. Then this one is the groove border. You see the code for it here now. Groove, border style, groove. Then the ridge border. Look at how the ridge border looks like. Now border style, ridge. And in each of the classes we added a simple text, a ridge border. Now, so this is how the coding looks like for each of them. We have the second to the last one, the last two, we have the p dot none, border style none. It has no border style. Now look at it here, no border. So if you want to code a no border, this is what you use in CSS. Then you have, if you want a hidden border, then paragraph.hidden, then border style hidden. So that is the code for this. So let's make progress. Let's go back to our document. So we have concluded this border. Now let's come to the border width. How do we measure the thickness of a border? Now we have the code here. Excuse me. Code here. P1. Now the border style is solid, but the border width, which is another code we just added, is 5. Now in the second one, P2, the border style is solid too, the same solid, where the border width is medium. So let's quickly check the code. We come to border width here, we double click it. This is the output. Let's come and get out the code from Edit Notepad++. Okay, let's minimize this. Okay, so they are close to each other now. Okay, now let's take it now. The first one is P normal. The border is 2 times. Sorry, it's like we opened the wrong one. Okay, look at it here. Look at the correct code here. So P1, the border style is solid. The border width is 5. This is the border width, the thickness of the border. Then for the second class, which is P2, which is this one, the border style is still the same solid, but the border width is medium. Now let's do some little changes here. Let's make this one, which is the first one, the border width to be 10. I put a 10 here. I click save, okay, and I refresh here. You can see now the border width here is now thicker because it has been made to 10. Now the same thing, so this is for medium, so this is for 2. You can see the border style is dotted, but the border width is 2. Let me increase this one here to 5. I click save, I refresh. You can see it is bigger now. Yes, it is bigger now. Now let me make it 7 so that we can make it more visible. Click save, refresh. You can see it's bigger. It's dotted, but it is 7. The size is 7. Now for the fourth one, it is dotted. The border width is thick. So this is how thick appears. Then for the fifth one, the border style is double and the width is 15. You see how it is double. It is 2. Double border. So we can make the width. Let's reduce the width to 10. We click save and we come here and we refresh. You can see it has gone back small, gone back to the size of 10. So we are here. Okay, so now the last one we have here, the border style here is double, the same, and the border width is thick. So these are different ways by which you manipulate or play around with the CSS border thickness. Okay, so let's make progress. Let's go back. Now we are done with border width. Now we scroll down. Now let's talk about the CSS border color. Now watch each and every one. So the normal coding, this is for the first border. Border style is solid. The border color is red. Remember when we went, let's go back a bit. Now you see the first one we did was border style double, the border width. So the code here is border width for the thickness. The border width here is 15. But when we came to this, when we are talking about color, you have to add the color. So the border style is still solid and the border color is red. So let's go back to the code. The output first. Let's go back to 7.2, double click it. Okay, so look at how the output looks like. Let me bring out the input code. Right click, edit with Notepad++. Okay, let me minimize this as usual. Okay, so look at it now. So you see that now the first paragraph, which is this one, the border style is solid and the border color is what? Is red. So if I decide to change it to black, let's see, we have black here. Okay, I say click save and I refresh. You can see now it has turned to black. So that's how you manipulate it. So this is black. Let me Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I go back to red, save it, refresh. You can see it's back to red. So this is for red color. The border style here is solid. It is green color. The border style here is dotted. The border color is blue. So this is how you insert or manipulate the border color in CSS. Then you put it in between the style. Then you come and put the paragraph, whatever you want inside the paragraph. But as you have defined the classes here, you must come here. Okay, this is class 1. This is the input of the paragraph. You come here, add whatever. So if I want to change the content here, so you say this is a solid red border that looks cool. Let's see it. Okay, I save this. I come here and refresh. You can see now that looks cool has been added here. So this is where you manipulate your text. So the P class, after you have defined the class on top, then you have to respond to it if you want to add something inside the paragraph of the border. So this is what you add. Open the class, open the paragraph with this code and close it here with the closing tag here. So that's about that. So let's come back, let's go forward. Now, so that's the border color. Now let's come forward to how do we code rounded borders in CSS. Now the CSS rounded border, now we know all this code. So this is another class p.normal. The border is 2px solid red. Then the padding, so these are two different codes now. The padding is 5x. Then for the second one, the border is 2 solid red. The border radius is 5, then the padding is 5. So let's see how it appears. Now, rounded border, double click it. So this is the output. Let's go to the input. Right click, edit notepad plus. Okay, let me reduce this. Okay, so now, so you see P normal, the border is 2 solid red, the padding is 5. Let's change the padding, for example, to 10 and see the difference. Click, save. Now refresh. You can see it creates more space in between the border and the text inside. Now let's make the border itself 5, make it thicker. Click save, refresh. You can see the difference. So you see how it affects the coding. Now the next one, the border is solid red 2 sides, which we have dealt with here. And the border radius, because we are looking for a curve, is 5. That is the curve here, 5. Now the padding is also what? 5. Now let me make this border radius, see the output of this. Let me make this now 10 and see how it looks like. I click save, I refresh it. You can see it has curved it by a radius of 10. So that is how you manipulate the border radius and the padding. You know what padding is already. Then the second, the third one, this is border radius is 8. You see how it looks like. You see this one, the border radius is 10. So this is how you make rounded borders. And as usual, if you have created this, you also have to create the classes inside. So that is how it functions. So let's make progress and see whether there's anything more. Okay, the rounded border. Okay, now let's see. Then finally, what we're going to do now, we're going to do the CSS padding. We have done that a bit in the previous example, but let's look at it better. Now we said the border is, the size is, the border thickness is 1. Then the color is light blue. The padding is top here is 50. By the right is 30. By the bottom is 50. By the padding left is 80. Now let's see how it appears. Now let's go padding, double click it. Now look at the padding. The padding, like I said, is the distance between the text and the external border. Now let's look at the code here. Right click it and edit notepad plus. Let's minimize this as usual. Okay, so now you see the border here, the thickness is 1. This is for the thickness of the border. Let's manipulate it to 5 so that you can see the difference. Click, refresh. Okay, now we have manipulated, so you know what that does. The border here is 5 solid black. Then the background color is light blue. This is the background color. So that is very clear. So if we want to change it, we can change it to, let's make it green. Okay, save, refresh. Okay, you see it's now green. Now we come back here. The padding at the top is 50. Now the distance between this line and this text, we can decide to make it 20. Save it, refresh it. You see it has reduced the padding. Okay, the bottom, the padding at the right is 30. Let's move this text to this side. This distance here is 30. Okay, let me increase it to 50. Save, refresh. Okay, to by the right. Okay, this is our this other side is our right. Let me reduce it so that we can see the significance. 20, sorry. Save it and refresh it. Okay, this side you can see it is now 20, very small. Now we did show the effect previously. Now at the bottom, let me increase this one to 80, which is the distance between this and this. Okay, so I click save. Now I refresh. You can see the padding here. Then the distance to the padding of the left, which is this one, let me reduce it to 50. So if I want to make them equal, I can make this one 50 and I make the one on the right to also what? 50. I click save and I click refresh. You can see now they are of equal size. So this is how we manipulate borders and do the padding, create backgrounds, manipulate. So what are the things what we have done so far? Let's go back so that we can do a review quickly. So the first thing we did was how we created a CSS border using the first thing was create a CSS border. So this is the CSS border, p dot border style. This is the code for it, border style, border style, border style, border style. We went further, we created the border width. After border style, we added another code, border width. The next thing we did was now to add what? The color. So we created border style, border width. Now this is border color. So this is the code for it. Then we now came to rounded borders. So we see border. For the rounded borders, you have to put a border radius and you also have to put a padding. We added padding, but the most important thing is the border radius. What that gives you the curved edge. Then finally we came to the padding. The padding is the distance between the border and the text. So the padding at the top, we have padding at the right, padding at the bottom, and padding at the left. So I hope that you have learned something from this tutorial. So if you have any questions or observations, please feel free to drop your